Hey guys, welcome back to Trading with Jen. Now, I am slightly behind on my weekly videos. I had a lot going on this past week between my baby's birthday, my man's birthday. There was definitely a lot, but I am back. And now that I am back, I also realized that I hit 100 subscribers. Now, I didn't think too much of it when I first created this channel, but I did promise myself that once I would hit and when I did hit 100 subscribers, that I was going to reintroduce myself and give you guys that fair chance to get to know me and, why you guys are following me other than, trading related videos. Yep. So let's get to it. Right. So part of getting to know me, I did put a poll on my social media. If you guys don't follow me yet on social media, it is on Instagram, jloves underscore underscore. There's two underscores on there. Make sure it's the verified one, guys. Okay, I do have a little blue check mark, so you guys will know when it's me. Okay, so let's start off with the questions that you guys had some for me. Okay, so first question is, how long have I been trading for? Well, I've been trading since 2019, back when trading and all these MLM companies, multi-level marketing companies, was actually hip. It was just an upbringing thing in the industry. People were just getting into the markets. So yeah, I got back in 2019, and I don't think I've ever stopped since. Probably did once, in between some, but we'll talk about that more in a second. Right. Second question is, do I have a college degree and do you need a degree in order to trade? First of all, yes, I do have a college degree. I actually have multiple. I have a an associate's in accounting, and then I did a bachelor of science in accounting as well with major in forensic. And then when I got to my master's degree, my graduate degree, I actually pursued in finance. And the reason why is because accounting was a little bit too like narrowed in, and I wanted something that was a little bit more broad, more I wanted to just kind of explore the field, and accounting was just not it. So when I did do my graduate's degree, I ended up going for finance. Now, in terms of do you need a degree in order to trade? Technically, you don't. Like it's just at this moment you just show up and work on the skill set, and of course, it's gonna be a lot of psychological how do you say this? Trading is actually 10% skill and 90% psychology. So, yeah, you don't need a trading degree or any type of degrees whatsoever, and you don't need any experience. Okay, next question is, what is my background ethnicity and what was my prior job? I'm actually fully Filipino. Um, some of you guys did think I was mixed, but I am completely Filipino. Getting into trading, honestly, I worked in the food industry. I was managing a restaurant. I knew it was no career job, but at that moment I was in college. It was something that kind of like funded my life and obviously, paid my bills at the moment. So, yeah, so I was working in the restaurant, and also I was managing hookah, a hookah lounge by night. So, daytime I was a restaurant manager, and then by night I was managing a hookah lounge as well, where eventually I was practically doing everything in one because I just knew how to work everything in the hookah lounge. So I was like training, managing, and I was also a server and you name it. Like I was literally money hungry. I just didn't know where I was going with this. As soon as I finished school, I realized that due to my background, criminal background, unfortunately, I had a pivotal moment of, just realizing that I couldn't get into the jobs that I wanted. And at that moment, I did want it to be a forensic accountant. So this is why I was kind of like, running field and then just kind of like branching out to the whole finance, just trying to like discover what is it exactly that, was like my cup of tea at that moment. But yeah, question. Okay, what got me into trading? Again, it was more so, even though I had the degrees that I needed to be in the fields that I wanted to be in, like I said, due to my criminal background is what pivoted me into trading because it was technically still in the finance field, right? But trading did not require any type of background check. It didn't care if I was black, white, yellow, whatever color I was. It didn't even care if I was like tatted up like I am now. So there was technically no judgments into this. And then I realized that it was just a skill set that I needed. And I just kind of pursued. And then on top of that, as soon as I got into this field, I was scammed. Okay. I was completely scammed by somebody thinking that I was gonna make some money from Bitcoin mining. Um, and then from being scammed is what really prompted me into like, okay, damn, like I really need to learn trading so that way, I don't fall for that same scenario again. And let alone once I did really get how to start trading and kind of finding my how do you say this? My perfect cup of tea on how to trade throughout the day, I decided that I should start mentoring. So that way, nobody else happens to fall in the same footsteps that I did. And perhaps on top of that, I knew I was going to be able to cut people's learning curve instead of taking years and, just kind of learning from losses, because that's how I learned eventually, because I did not trust, like I said, I was scammed and I did not trust a soul after that. So, essentially, yeah, I actually learned how to trade through my losses. I took my losses and I saw them as lessons, and then, I just had to keep telling myself that every time I lost money was, I'm paying my dues in advance. It was almost like college, but instead of getting like a student loan, it was me paying it forward in advance. Sorry, every loss that I took essentially taught me a lesson. And you know, it was just about refining the skill set at that moment. And yeah. Now, how has it changed my life? God, like honestly, it's huge. It's huge, honestly. When I went in full throttle in trading, and once I learned how to work around the skill set and decided to quit my job, um, it was tough, honestly, because the same year that I quit my jobs and 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 just kind of completely replaced it with trading and getting to mentorship and being able to train others or whatnot, that same year my father passed. So there was it was crazy, honestly. It almost felt like my dad was just waiting until I was in a position where he thought I'd be good in. And as soon as I got into trading earlier that year, after quitting the jobs, later on that year, towards the end, he ended up passing away. How has that changed? My view of being able to be a trader. I was able to spend more time with him before he passed, and I was working a job prior to that. I would always call off. I would cut my hours, and obviously that would cut my paycheck, and it was a complete struggle. So being able to trade gave me the time and freedom to be able to cater to my father, spend time with him before he passed. So yeah, I'm gonna stop right there before I start getting shaky on this topic. But yeah, it definitely has changed my life for the better, so that way I could spend more time with the family and, obviously where it matters most, my kids or whatnot. Next question, what is my favorite pair and why? If you guys have seen my last videos, I mainly focus on gold. Essentially, yes, I am a gold digger. Um, it's definitely gold. I do have other pairs as well that I do trade every now and then, which is NASDAQ, NAS 100, or I also trade Dow Jones, which is US 30. So I trade those three, and those are my ultimate favorites. I don't really dabble into Forex or any other commodities really, and I probably should, but I do strongly feel like, the more you have on your plate, the more confusing things could get because you really have to get to know the personalities of these particular pairs. So I had to get a little lighting. It was starting to get a little dark. But last question is, what is my why? This really goes back down to being able to put my time where it matters most. I have two kids, I have a whole family, and like I said, prior to all of this, my father was sick, and I needed to find a way to spend more time because I just didn't know how much time he had left due to his conditions. Um, my mother had to retire, so I was just like, oh God, who's gonna be working and taking care of all these bills? And mind you, from my mother's side, I am an only child, so it was more of like I needed to thrive for something that I felt like it was going to hit home. It was going to take care of things. Guys, that does conclude a little intro of myself and a little bit more in depth. If you guys have any other questions in terms of, you know, what is it that I actually do, which is mentoring. As many of you guys know, I do mentor students. I do like to put educational resources for others as well. But aside from that, guys, I want to say thank you so much for, just kind of tapping into my channels and just kind of learning from everything that I have to pour and give you guys. And yeah, see you guys on the next video. Bye.